record that you guys are talking?
No, actually.
When would I ever be able to record them?
Because you went to tower. Ay, pero ahorita que vos cambiaste. Ah, no. Es que tengo de todo. What do we need? They're learning notebook. No lo sé. No, yo te enseñé los pasos. Yo te dije que hicieras esto 3 veces. Yo te dije que hicieras esto 3 veces. Y tú ¿qué haces? Yo lo intenté más. Mira eso.
Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who are late. No, you're still late.
Why?
And actually 7. Because I don't see Santiago. Probably an 8. We need to define ready as at the time we're supposed to be ready. You are sitting prepared to learn.
I'm sitting prepared.
Okay, that's ready.
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what ready is. This is what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes. That's why I want you to close your eyes. Close them. Close your eyes. I am going to keep my eyes open. You feel even more to close them. Please close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth. Check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now? We're not talking. I want you to kind of clear your mind. And make a commitment to yourself and to the people around you that you are going to be focused on learning, and that you know that if you can't be focused on learning, that you have the right and the responsibility to remove yourself from the situation and say your best. All right, eyes open. It's amazing how much of a struggle that is, right? Closing our eyes and taking just a moment to be peaceful. It's really hard. It's not an easy thing to do. Okay. It's not an easy thing to do. What do you see? Talk to your book club. What do you see? What are Three, 2, 1, 0. Now thinking about this, I should have totally did a different picture. It would have been a little bit more interesting. But the whole thing I was wanting you to understand is that
We all have different perspectives, okay? We all look at things differently. Again, I am asking you to commit to learning and to commit to not distracting your book club. And to spend those next 10 minutes with us, like learning and focus on things. And if you can't do it, then please leave. Please go to your desk so that you can learn at a different time. Okay. Again, I'll repeat it again. There's no hidden agenda. I'm not going to write you a warning ticket for something. I'm not upset or angry. I understand that sometimes you're not in the mood or the region to sit and learn and focus. And if you can't, then please go to your desk and do what you need to do. Okay. But if you can commit here and see it, and that's you're telling me I'm going to be focused, I'm not going to distract my book club, I'm going to understand what's going on. Okay. All I was trying to do is get you to see that people see things differently. A lot of times we see things differently based on our experiences, just like we were talking about in memoirs. Okay. Just like we were writing about. Our experiences and our perspectives change us. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is that you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention. You need to read alertly. Okay, and you need to ask yourselves, how does this connect to other parts of the text, and what is this part really about? Wait a second. I'm all confused. Scratch that. I think that was the one I was going to do the next day. Uh-oh. Let me see if I mistakenly was...
That was the next big thing.
No, this is what happened. So I apologize to you all. I mean, this is going to take a minute and a half. Time me, someone. Start counting. 1, 2. Let's see if I can do this in under 60 seconds.
Wait, I've already counted.
I'm gonna count. You tell me when.
Go now.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. No, 14.
Okay, that wasn't bad.
26, 15.
There we go. All right, so that was awful. I apologize. This is what happens when you start planning things and change your mind. You need to understand people's perspectives, their experiences shape the way they view things in real life and in books. And most importantly in historical fiction is that something is going to happen within that time set that is going to change the way they think about things. So you have to think about the times and what's happening. Okay, that's why historical fiction is rigorous. You really have to think about stuff, and you have to be thinking about that moment in time and what's going on and how that's affecting everybody. So I'm going to give you an example. Oh, I was going to have that up there because I was going to be here. So now I'm just going to read it. If we think back to when Anne-Marie and Ellen saw the military people, and that person said, stop, right? They said, halt. And their perspective and their reaction was to be very, very scared about what was going on. And so I was thinking, like, you know, you look around here, I see military people on the side of the road all the time. I'm never scared about it. When I was growing up as a kid, they'd have guards out, you know, from schools to ask you to go. We have guards at the front of our school. I'm not scared of them. If they were to ask me to stop, I'd be like, oh, hey, what's going on? So that got me thinking, like, why are they scared? And then it occurred to me, it's like, oh, okay, this is a totally different perspective that they have. These are an invading army. These are people that are there to take over their country. So that would, I mean, that matters. Like if I know that the people working around here, I mean, those are military people for this country, right? Or that's guards protecting our school. So they have my best interest in mind. So that made me realize that. It's like you really have to pay attention to what's going on in that book and what's going on in history so you understand the perspectives of people. So I'm going to ask for you and your group to do some of this work with me. And I'm going to read from I Must Go here to Back to His Own Country. So if you want to follow along, you can. And then I'm going to ask you to do, I'll move that down. So from here, I'll move up. I must go and speak to Ellen, Mrs. Rosen said, moving toward the door. You girls walk a different way to school tomorrow. Promise, Anne-Marie, and Ellen will promise too. We will, Mrs. Rosen, but what does it matter? There are German soldiers on every corner. They will remember your faces, Mrs. Rosen said. turning in the doorway to the hall. It is important to be one of the crowd, always. Be one of many. Be sure that they never have reason to remember your face. She disappeared into the hall and closed the door behind her. He'll remember my face, Mama, Kirsty announced happily, because he said I looked like his little girl. He said I was pretty. If he had such a pretty little girl, why doesn't he go back to her like a good father? Mrs. Johansson murmured, stroking Kirsty's cheek. Why doesn't he go back to his own country? Right there in that section, you have a few very distinct perspectives. You have Mrs. Rosen's, you have Anne Marie's, you have Mrs. Johansson's, and you have Kirsty's. Kirsty's perspective of the events are much, much different than the other three. I want you to think, why might? What is your guess? What do you think might possibly? That Kirsty would think this way. Why might she have a different perspective about what's going on? What's your best guess? Talk to your club. So we should be, our mouth should be moving and words should be coming out at the top. We have Kirsty, we have Mrs. Rosen, we have Are they the same reason? Is everybody the same age? Is everybody the same religion? That shape your perspective? Like Mrs. Rose and Mrs. Johansson are the same religion? So her perspective doesn't know. 3, 2, 1, 0. So I want to debrief real quick about the process we just went through and something that you can use, and I invite you to use when you're reading. Okay? Why do characters respond the way that they do? Okay, you think about that and things that you can think about to kind of justify your reasoning. We have relationships to the events that happen. We have relationships to the setting, especially when it comes to historical fiction. There are things that are happening that are shaping your character's perspectives. And so that's what you're supposed to be thinking about. That's the process. Now, with your book club, on one sheet of paper, I'll have all the numbers on there. I want you to think about this. Write down one reaction a character in your book had that you wouldn't have had. So that's one of the things we can think about, is like sometimes these characters will behave in ways that we don't because we haven't had their experiences. So I want you to talk to your book club. What is one thing a character did that you wouldn't have done? And write that down. This is what's happening.
Oh no, I know. When she was getting videos, the actions of
Remember, you're writing it down on a piece of paper, you're gonna be turning that into one of the If there's some there, you please. What out those little pieces of paper too? All right, 3, 2, 1, and 0. I made one change to this page. I will always have now the exit slip up because I feel like you should have internalized by this point what is going to be in your learning notebook. Okay, so a lot of times people will be like, what was the exit slip? What was I supposed to do? So because of that, I made a decision to have that. I thought those were the 4 most important things, is that learning that was supposed to take place, that learning target. Okay, the strategy we were talking about, the process. So what we went over, how you can use this. Remember, I may be talking about number the stars, but this is stuff you can use in your reading. That's why we talk about the process. These are the things you're supposed to be doing. Hopefully you've all had a chance to look over where you are with your skills and what I suggested your next step was and what the end goal looks like. Okay, hopefully you've taken a look at that, you've started to internalize that, and you've been making some plans. I haven't looked at everybody's documents, so I will be sending you emails if you haven't filled anything out. Well, you should have seen yours. Your mom emailed me. That said how you did on pre-assessment, what skills you've shown, and which ones you're struggling with.
Oh.
Okay. If you finished, I know I have book clubs that have finished a book and are waiting. Who is that? You all? You'll have 2 groups. Is that correct?
Yeah.
2 groups. Everyone else is going to get started on their reading. Okay. Remember, you will read for most of the time, and then I will ask you to have a book club conversation at the end. It'll probably be a little less today. If you are waiting for a book, I'm going to ask your team to stay here. Okay? Let's get started.